All right, Friday night green light. I am excited. I wanted to do this one last week, but we were out of town, going to visit family, and I had these to open up, but it was going to take me a little while, and I also want to do something a little different. Monster trucks are real big for me growing up, and it was kind of it was a big following for me from the ages of probably 4 to 14. Honestly, I've taken all my kids except my youngest to all of them in the early 2000s, and a couple of these trucks I remember, a couple of them I don't. They were probably a little before my time. But tonight on Diversified Diecast, we're going to go through each one of them. I'm going to cut them all open, do a roll check them out, just do a quick quality check. And then when I put them up on the turntable, I'm going to read a little bit of AI Wikipedia off to y'all. Some actually very interesting trivia on some of these things. So it should be a nice treat for those of you who followed Monster Truck, Monster Jam, what have you from the past 4 decades, right? So we'll dive right in. I got them in order: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. These are 2025 Greenlight Kings of Crunch, Series 16. I actually picked up this set at our new Walmart, or our Walmart, after they got the remodeling done, and they actually had all 6 there, so I grabbed them. Like I said, this is a few weeks ago. So first off, it's going to be a Moonshiner. It's an 82 GMC Sierra 2500. Back of the card, that's the series that's in here. So, and later on, I don't know if I have time tonight because this might take a little bit, but as you can see here, I've also got some Ultra Hots that I decided to keep. There were double diecast variants. And then I got some of the new hot ones I liked. They weren't double diecast. I think those are both actually plastic bases. And then I have a 70 Chevelle Hot Wheels mainline from, I think, 98 or 2000. 99, sorry. Been really wanting to open that car up, and I figured you guys would want to see it too, because obviously that's a double diecast variant. And then the other hot one I have over here is from that mystery box that I got from trade buddy of mine down in Rio Grande City. Again, I just want to kind of put the roll test into effect for all the green lights, because I'm sure they're all fine, but in the event they're not, I want you guys to see it on camera. If there's an issue or whatever, you just know they won't all be perfect, right? And that's what really turned me on to these things when we opened up that Mopar Magic truck. And currently, I have a few others that I'm going to open up later. May or may not do them on camera, depending on how you guys like these. But that is the only one that I have out of the package right now, is that Mopar Magic, and it's over there on the wife's side. This one rolls just like the other one. It has a little bit of a lop in one of the tires, but what I was commenting on was, if we would have had models like this, with our monster trucks, they would have held up some abuse, right? I'm not saying we wouldn't have stood on them and used them as skates like we all did. I know both of my boys had all the 124 scale Monster Jam Series trucks, man, from 2008 to probably 2017. We went through a bunch of them. They kept a handful. I kept 4 for myself in packages, but I actually sold them to help fund the diecast habit. I think they kept probably 7 to 8 a piece. They're packed away in storage, and under climate control, and out of mind, out of sight, right? So, move on to the next one. This is the number 1 truck in the series, and we'll put it up on the turntable later. Try to get y'all somewhat of a view. I guess we'll put them back in the spot where they were. Truck number 2 is a Holman's Beast 83 C30 1 ton. What was really cool about this series that kind of caught my eye, because I've been eyeing them for a while, but I haven't bought any until probably 2 or 3 months ago. I bought an Excalibur because that was a truck I remember. The black square body Chevy. Anything Bigfoot, obviously, I was grabbing. And then there was another one that I picked up. It'll come to me in a minute. But anyway, I'll probably just save those for another Friday night green light. Maybe not do them all at once. Maybe throw one in there. If I get some more, and it's an incomplete series, I may mix those in with them or something. We'll figure it out. It's not that technical. But what I was trying to get at before I got on my peanut gallery was what really caught my eye about this series when I saw them was they actually had both the square bodies of this set in store. And Bigfoot #4 is a very iconic truck for me because that was the Bigfoot that I remembered. We'll get more on that later. And the sideboard truck is a Ram. I love the first gen Ram pickups, mid 80s to early 90s. And the two Fords are nice too, but I don't know much about these two guys here. All right, so roll check on this one. This blue is really nice out of the package. And that red undercarriage looks really good. Kind of pulls to the left a little bit, but they're generally pretty good overall. That Mopar Magic definitely probably rolls better than these two, but still, this is really nice. I love the weight of these things too. Everything on them is pretty much die cast except some parts on the driveline. And the detail, it being Greenlight, man, they're going to pay extra special attention to just what counts. I mean, you look at the back of this thing, and the monster trucks from that era were always blacked out grills. And a lot of people did their custom trucks like that too. They had the smoke cap on lenses. That was real popular in the late 80s, early 90s on these and the OBS, generation trucks after this. All right, so truck #3 is 88 Ford F-150 Jersey Outlaw. Not too steady tonight. I'm not sure why I'm shaking so much, everybody, but who knows? These cut open pretty easy compared to some of the other stuff from Greenlight. At least on these, you have plenty of room in between the outer blister and the actual vehicle, so the blade is like still an inch away from the truck the whole time you're cutting into it. So just fun fact. Those of you who are buying these things and are going to open them later. It's cool. It's got the little teal blue in. See, this is why we do a roll test. It's not perfect, and it's still pretty good. I mean, it may look worse than feel and sound, worse than it really is on camera, but it does kind of hop and skip the truck and the chassis. I'm not real sure if it's the front, yeah, or the rear, or both. Yeah, I can kind of see this one's got a little bit of a, some of it may just be from being in a package. Maybe after it sits for a little while, see how it's kind of doesn't really want to sit too square. Nonetheless, it's still really nice. These things they're really cool, man. I kind of wish I would have bought these a lot earlier. My only concern that I'm going to have moving forward is until I get this office back and we get her another spot in or out of the house. I haven't really know where to display these things because a lot of my shelf space is taken up from cars that I have up here in my garages, and I got to do a little more something here. I need to probably put my books on a bookshelf over here in the corner so we can allocate some more room. But nothing that I've seen these fit in unless I look for like a custom case, and it may come to that. I've got a little room down here and my shelving under the desk to store probably 7 or 8 more craft jammer cases, which I plan to fill with standard, castings in the near future, for the channel. But I'm scared to keep buying these things. So I don't want to keep a bunch of, clamshelled storage, and I don't want to have this whole thing lined up with monster trucks unless they're ones I really like. Or if I have a way to store them, I can do like I do everything else. I'll display and showcase some things for a little while, out in the open, and then I put them in a rotation. I pick a day out of the month, the 20th or the 25th or the 1st or whatever. I don't really have a system. It's just kind of when I get that itch or when the weather's really nasty and I'm caught up on all my, work and rat killing and stuff in the garage and whatever else goes around here. That's when I get to do stuff like that just to kind of chill, and decompress. Nonetheless, back to the video. The content it was intended for. 90 Ford F-350 Bigfoot number 4. I'll talk a little bit more about the history on this thing. The elaborate history on Bigfoot is way too long to go into. I tried to keep it short to, best get 3 sentences on the notes I made in my notebook over here. But like I said, Bigfoot was definitely a fan favorite. I mean, it was right there with um, Anderson's Gravedigger and a couple other trucks. I know I've seen it online on Facebook, trade auction posts, whatever, or buy it nows, or it may have been somewhere else. They had I think we used to call it like the 10-foot tired Bigfoot. Has the big like 7-foot wheels, and I think they actually did that truck with dually tires all the way around. They apparently make that truck in this Kings of Crunch series. That'd be a cool one to have. Because that thing, I remember I saw it the first time on, it was in a magazine, or hell, it may have been on a show. I can't remember. But that was mind blowing for like a 6 or 7-year-old kid to see. Oh, this one's extra nice. Man, this takes you back. It really does. See, it's kind of got a little lump here and there. So definitely the Moonshiner Roll is probably the best. The Holman's Beast is probably second in line. It's almost like they're getting worse as we go, believe it or not. That one's pretty good. This one's almost perfect. Like I said, they slowly just kind of gradually get worse. This one has a small skip from both the front and the rear. And the Bigfoot's definitely got something going on. Sorry about that. All right. Truck number 5, sideboard. It's a 90 model D250 Dodge. This is the one I saw initially when I was walking the aisles. I went in there to grab some bubble wrap and literally come back home. And I used to just always ignore our Walmart because it's scavenged, picked, scalped, and torn through is an understatement. But here recently, since they've got the store remodeled for a new layout, they've been actually putting some decent stock out there, so you can catch some decent finds. And the good thing about that is they're trying to keep that shelf stock now more because it does see so much action. So a lot of the stuff that is there, is pretty fresh stock, and the older stuff that no one picks up and buys, they basically put on clearance. But I was walking through the aisle and I saw this thing. I was like, oh, that's really cool. So I started looking at them. I'm kind of eyeballing them more ever since I bought a few. And I got to looking and I was like, oh, I just need to keep going. And I noticed there was probably 20 or 30 hanging up on the shelf. And I said, well, they might have the whole set here. And sure enough, I saw the square bodies behind this one. So I'm definitely getting those two. And I wanted this one because it was a D250 Ram. And then sure enough, I saw the whole set there. And I said, you know what? I'm hardly ever going to see a full set hanging on pegs. So I just went ahead and decided to grab it. And it'd be good content for the channel too. One thing I noticed about this one is it sits kind of weird, in relation to the chassis. And this one actually has a really interesting fact that we'll get to when they get on the turntable, so I can yap a little bit. I'd like to investigate that fun fact a little further because I'm real curious to see how that was done. But again, we'll address that here in a minute when they get up on the whirlybird. What's cool about these, like I keep saying, they're an adult collectible, right? But what I love about these trucks is they allow, guys and gals from ages probably 30 to 50 to relive childhood memories, but to sit here and look at a model and go, this is the way I want it now. It's a toy, right? But it's not too toyish. It's got the right detail. It's got some nice quality, good paint. and you can sit here and admire this thing. And it's tough enough to where if you have a kid that wants to play with it, or a grandkid or whatever, or a neighbor or whatever, they can roll it around. They can smash it into a few things and it probably won't hurt it. Now, again, don't stand on it, use it as skates or, a furniture dolly. But these will hold up to a little bit of resistance, I think, as long as the kid just kind of mindful. Roll test on this one's pretty good. It's probably about like the Holman's Beast. So, really nice color on that truck. All right, last one, number 6. It's going to be the Northern Storm. It's a 93 F250. And who remembers the Lund bed-mounted rear visors? Lund made all kinds of goofy stuff, including the sunshades, and they made running boards. And I remember that was a big thing. Definitely probably 90 to 95. You thought you were half of somebody if you had some of their accessories on your pickup, at least down here in Texas. I never said that I would agree to it or I would want anything like that on my truck back then, but to each his own. And it wasn't like it was just one or two guys that had it. They sold a ton of those products. And that just reminds us of the flavor and style that we had back then. This one's being a little stubborn, starting to bend the blade. And the blade's pretty fresh. Sorry if this squeaking is picking up on the mic. Really can't help it. It's not cooperating. I got Colt over here playing cameraman. He's over there acting like he's involved, but he's secretly playing a bunch of garbage on his phone. But it's okay. He's willing to help and help me out doing something different tonight. So. Not perfect, but at least it rolls and it's not too bad. It's about like that Bigfoot. Maybe it's because it's a Ford. Not single-handedly pointing somebody out, but that could be the contributing factor. You just never know these days. Okay, now we got all 6 out. I'm gonna try not to talk so loud into the microphone. I'm still not really crazy about the sound quality of this thing, but I'll try to quiet down a little bit and make it to where it's not talking into a megaphone. And we'll get these things under light, do a couple 360s, and I'll read off the fun facts, and we'll learn a few things tonight, and then we'll close it out. So stand by, stay tuned, to be continued. These things look a lot better under light than I thought they would. Hopefully they cooperate and stay still while they're up on the turntable. I'm just going to kind of let you guys sit here and admire, the trucks while I read off a few facts, and we'll go through each one. Like I said, we'll knock it out pretty quick. So Moonshiner was also formerly known as Nightbreed, Wild Thunder, the Enforcer, and then became Insane, capital N, capital S, A-N-E. It was based off of John Shipman's blown four-wheel drive pull truck. So this initially, I guess, started out from the quick facts that I read. The design and the graphics package, and the actual look of this truck was literally a direct pull from that pull truck, tractor pull. Okay, so Holman's Beast, truck number 2 in the series. Bobby Holman, out of Dayton, Ohio, owned Team Beast Racing. This truck's debut was in '83. Beast 1 original started off as a lifted show truck that morphed into a full-fledged monster truck that you see here. In 2009, the truck was rebodied and temporarily renamed Lucas Oil Stabilizer in the Monster Nationals. So I thought that last part was pretty interesting. It had a pretty good run. I'm not sure when it actually ended, as being called Holman's Beast. I'm assuming that was 2008 when they rebodied it in 2009. But there you have it. Okay, number three, Jersey Outlaw. It competed in events from '88 to '96. Original truck was owned by Nick Rossi, and it was driven by Mike Wine and himself. In 2011, it revived. Owner Michael Harper created a new monster truck, Outlaw, as a throwback to Nick Rossi's original truck. So it was stagnant from '97 to 2010, and then I guess Michael Harper kind of did a throwback to this original, look, if you will. Okay, so number four, Bigfoot number four. It was built in 1984 and it debuted in 1985, and it retired from competition in 1998. That truck was sold in '07. It was fully restored and unveiled to the public in 2023. Um, what's really interesting is this body style didn't come out till '87. So, in my opinion, in '84 and debuting in '85, that should have been a bullnose Ford body on here, and it may have been. That was literally right after I was born. Um, so this body style, like this exact body style, would have been '87 to '91. The body style like this continued beyond '91, but they had that grill change and some interior modifications in the standard pickup. But just know that this year model of truck, the way it sits now, would have been an '87 in 1991. Okay, Cyborg. Interesting facts on this one. Number five in the series. It's originally owned by Jack Caberna. It ran in Monster Jam series from '91 to 2017. Later versions changed to an F-150 body with green and black or black and yellow, and those Ford versions also had air quote cyborg panels. It was also known to run in two-wheel drive, which obviously was a major disadvantage against its competition. I would love to dig into that a little more and try to validate that. Again, I'm going off of AI Google, because you do some research on these trucks, unless you're just an avid Monster Jam aficionado, it's really kind of hard to do some quick research on these things. But I'm gonna have to dig into that a little more just from my own self-loathe to find out, what was what. Okay, number six, Northern Storm. Um, it was owned by Dave Stazik out of Hatley, Wisconsin. Stazik also owned and drove the truck Twister, and there's not really a whole lot else on this truck from the quick research I did. Again, I didn't take a deep dive. I just did some quick notes, just so you guys can have some trivia to go off of. And talking about the body styles again, see this grill is 92 and up. This grill was 92 to '96, OBS Ford, if you will, or I'm sorry, '97 in the 350s and 250s. Um, they rebodied the F-150 in '97, which is the 10th gen, like my son has, and then '98 they made a really weird F-250, like 8 lug F-150. It was really strange, like a heavy half. And then '99 they came out with the Super Duty. Well, that's all we got for tonight. I really thought this one would be a little bit longer than it was, but at least it didn't take out a full lunch hour for some of you folks, or you're snoozing into it at bedtime at night before you hit the rack. But want to change something up and do things a little different and give you guys some different content and just some different things to look at. I'm expanding my diecast, possibilities. Obviously, I'm getting into that Tune series, the JDMs, and these Kings of Crunch are really cool from Greenlight. So I'll find some more. If I find another full set, we'll do some more of this if y'all like it. I'm going to buy them regardless, but let me know what you think in the comments. Do it up down there. Let everybody else know that this is what we're doing and we're trying to grow. We'll slowly get a little bit better. We'll get nice camera and boom mic and all that, but just going through the motions and taking the paces to enjoy this hobby and this YouTube thing. So good night. We'll see y'all later. We'll try to film another one.